My greatest challenge as a scientific writer.
My greatest challenge in medical and science writing.
Writing motivating articles about health and medicine is sometimes an internal challenge.
To me, the most challenging thing.
It's like being an artist. Most people can brush paint on a canvas to produce identifiable shapes, but not too many can produce a painting.
Seeing eye to eye about who can be listed as authors has been a challenge for a long time and can become a crisis.
I guess the biggest crisis for me as a medical writer, and I guess for any writer as well, is burnout.
Medical writing is a challenging and exciting field. Medical writers create documents under a variety of high-pressure, highly public, and high-impact situations, collaborating with physicians, scientists, and other professionals that are quite diverse and working on complex projects. Medical writers bring things together and bring people together to help market new drugs, devices, and biologic products. We asked over 100 medical writers what challenges they face on a daily basis. What are their biggest challenges, and how do they turn those challenging situations into opportunities? And this is what we found. Medical writers bridge people, and they bridge different backgrounds.
I'm confident in my writing ability, but what about clinical aspects? I have a science background. Reading about guidelines is one thing. There's a fine art to practicing medicine. I learned, especially under pressure, I can't be afraid to reach out to subject matter experts for help.
My greatest challenge in medical and science writing has been coworkers, not the job itself. The job is about people.
Permit me to start by listing a few things that I don't believe are most challenging about being a medical writer. 1. Learning regulations. 2. Moving between therapeutic areas. And 3. Timelines. We all know that deadlines can be killers, and writers are near the end of the process. To me, the most challenging thing is learning how to direct, manage, control, guide a cross-functional team under pressure over which you have no real authority.
My greatest challenge as a scientific writer has been working with clients, colleagues and supervisors who do not understand that good writing is a skill that the majority of people do not possess. It's like being an artist. Most people can brush paint on a canvas to produce identifiable shapes, but not too many can produce a painting that is worthy of hanging on a living room wall.
Medical writers overcome self-doubt and fear.
My greatest challenge in medical writing, I would say, is fear. I doubted myself and didn't want to accept the true calling of a vast writer, and as such, I limited my abilities to become a stronger writer at the time. I had this doubt and fear because I thought no one would ever accept my writing as a new medical writer without a medical degree. But over time, I improved my writing skill set and research methodologies in becoming a writer with not only good words, but with also dignity and credibility.
One night I went through a dozen drafts for an urgent project for the scientific director. I hit send and he responded, "Thanks, but the board has already approved." The financial modelling convinced them. The lesson was simple. No matter how well written, money can still talk in a crisis.
Pressure and power issues are always at play in medical writing.
In dealing with stressful situations, I once retaliated by playing hooky. During my day of self-care, I met an out-of-town corporate consultant waiting in line for a wheatgrass shop. He advised me, "You are giving away your power." Wow, that woke me up. Writing under stress ultimately called me to look for my center of peaceful, calm, and benevolence, a gift embodying our skills as writers, for composure more powerful than any tumultuous waves.
Medical writers must navigate authorship and acknowledgement of their work.
As a writer, the data clearly favored my interpretation, what I wrote. But there was pressure to change the conclusions. This had me conflicted. Do I stick to my guns or bow to superior position and experience? I learned a lifelong lesson to trust my skills and hold my ground.
Seeing eye to eye about who can be listed as authors has been a challenge for a long time and can become a crisis. Some PIs want to add authors who don't even know that a paper has been submitted. Obviously, with no hand in the manuscript, you have to negotiate this.
The most challenging situation I ever faced was when one of my articles suddenly made it into national media. I was interviewed by national magazines, and my senior collaborator was offended it was me and not him. And I learned very fast to be much more cognizant about publicly honoring collaborators' contributions.
You know, in spite of my heroic efforts on such a short timeline, it never crossed a client's mind to acknowledge my editing work in his book. And that experience was an eye-opener for me, and it taught me to never assume people will do the right thing.
When you're creating long and complex documents, getting unstuck is important.
I guess the biggest crisis for me as a medical writer, and I guess for any writer as well, is burnout. Burnout. When I was 2 years into dedicated medical writing, I found out what burnout really means. It's that moment when your brain just doesn't find the perfect words anymore, and every time you write a sentence, you feel it's just not right, and so you wipe it clean and start over. But then you start feeling like you're repeating yourself. It's truly a very exhausting thing, not just because you can't write, but also because you feel like you're going to fail.
When I'm stuck while writing, I practice meditation, and it has given me amazing results. Writing motivating articles about health and medicine is sometimes an internal challenge to where you remind yourself to practice what you preach.
It's foundational for medical writers to manage review cycles and timelines.
Everyone who has ever written a term paper or academic dissertation or thesis thinks that they are writers or expert reviewers. This is actually far from the truth. The biggest challenge of writing is to move contributors from inspecting documents to critically and strategically reviewing documents on time, especially multi-degree reviews.
In one writing job, I was always working in a crisis. I had to work around the clock, get up very early in the morning, go to work, do research, and then come back home and write in my late night spare time. I mean, I loved writing, but I was going mad and I was still trying to work even more. I needed to make time for my family, my friends, and my girlfriend. I mean, productivity isn't everything in life. You need balance.
I was hired late in an urgent NDA project and delivered despite all odds. So how did it feel? Terrifying, overwhelming, wearying, and ultimately exhilarating. It's my experience that trial by fire forges the strongest alliances in teams. That was years ago, and I remember my colleagues' names and faces. I can picture us feverishly working on documents in a conference room, with carry-out containers, filling trash cans, and single-minded team effort.